Welcome to Boulevard TV. This is Mario Gedicke. I'm here today with Carla Fisher of Sticks and Stones. Carla, thank you so much for inviting me into your house.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm thrilled you're here.
There's not a lot of men coming in your house these days.
Very few.
Very few. You're very
the mailman.
The mailman. You're a very private person, right? Like you just surround yourself with your family mostly.
Some girlfriends.
Some parties you're having. The wine. We're living in the Okanagan, so you do enjoy your wine.
I do.
You do.
I do.
I know. We've been to a few parties. And we hit it pretty hard, actually. It's true.
It's true. It's very true.
I'm not even making up the shit. But Carla, tell me, like you've been in the Okanagan like a long time.
20 years.
20 years. And you've been in the industry, being an interior designer, even longer. You graduated in 1986. I was 6 years old. So I was like wet in diapers while you were already graduating. So that's how old you are.
And kicking butt,
and you
like
did.
Right out of school.
You did.
I ended up in corporate design.
Yeah.
Where I was designing in my 20s, Bank Montreal's and Canada Safeways.
Was that your first job?
It was. I designed homes for about a year, but my second job was Bank Montreal's in Western Canada. So I learned a lot of corporate policy structure, and that gave me kind of the basis to running a company because there's so many procedures. So it wasn't necessarily 100% about aesthetic, but about how to run a company within budget, design.
Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Alberta?
I grew up in Calgary.
In Calgary. Oh shit! I'm
So I was responsible for Bank Montreal's in Western Canada.
Wow. So you came out of school, or you graduated from the university, and you started your job right away.
I did.
Wow.
I did. And prior, it was a really good fit. I worked as a bank teller from age 16, and I worked my way up to an assistant manager prior to going to school. So at 23.
Back then, weren't the countertops high enough for you to...
They gave me a stool.
They did,
They gave me a stool.
It's like, Carla, since you can't, why don't we give you the step stool to just sit? And then you became a manager. So what happened? You disciplined the people from the, hey guys, I need this salesman.
You listen to me. I'm going to give you some money, but don't spend it.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Was it hard back then? Like, not only being a woman back then, but also short as hell. Like, that probably didn't really help either.
You know what? I wore high heels back then.
Oh.
But being a woman, so I was recognized, and they were very much into promoting women. And so I was being fast-tracked in Bank Montreal.
Because you're literally from down here, you can shoot up just higher.
But you know what also happened? So this shows, the era that I was working in. We had a cash drawer, a cash till, and withdrawal slips. And so this guy hands me a withdrawal slip, and I look at it, and it says, "I have a gun, give me all your money."
Are you kidding me?
And that day I had switched lunch hours because I found out I got into interior design architecture school. I opened up my wicket and I was held up, and he had a gun in his jacket, and he had just escaped from a penitentiary in Alberta. And but I was smart, so I'm like, shit, I have too much money in my till. I'm going to lose my job. So back then,
that's what you worried about. Wow.
Yes. So I took all the ones. We had $1 bills, $2 bills, $5 bills, $10.
I get the point. I get the point. You want to go all the nominations?
But then underneath were my 50s and 100s, and I'm like, I can't give him those. I'll have given him way too much money. And I slipped it under the till, and he took it.
Really?
So
He got away with it?
being the authentic person, you pushed a button, and I was authentic back then. I went to my boss and I said, I've been robbed. And she's like, Carla, quit joking around. And I said, I've been robbed.
Like an opera singer. Well, that gives you credibility.
I started to cry. And back then, they locked all the doors. All the customers had to stay in the bank. And the police came and fingerprinted. They caught the guy, I don't know, a week later robbing another bank.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What an introduction to the world.
And then I became quite nervous when people would come up and hand withdrawal slips.
Oh, really? So that, well, luckily you got into the
Interior design.
so you didn't really have to deal with money anymore. Although bigger bills, but they had to pay you.
Exactly.
Actually, a little bit different. That's crazy times. And back then you didn't have cameras, so it was literally, it was your word against theirs.
Yes, and so they did catch him, and I had to see them in a lineup, and I was able to point to him. I went to court to testify, but I was, in my early 20s.
God, that gives you, no wonder you have a thick skin.
Absolutely.
You've seen
the Wild West of Alberta.
Of Alberta, guns and everything, eh? Mm-hmm. That's crazy. So then you ended up going into the interior design. You're like, okay, fuck this, I'm out of this. Let's go into interior design. Too Dangerous, which you ended up then in Canmore first, right?
Well, I'm going to start, I knew I was going to be an interior designer in grade 4. So I learned how to draw my bedroom, measure it, and draw to scale. Wow. By grade 6, I had picked my program.
Really?
So it was just something intuitively that I knew I would do. So there was I had a few other options. I could have done quite well in banking. I had another opportunity, but I stayed very focused to what made me happy.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Now you got a few kids.
I have 3.
Yeah. Do you rub it in their face that you did all that stuff at 6?
Oh yeah, they feel very inferior.
It must be like, thanks mom, that's what I just needed to hear.
Absolutely. They feel like, why don't I know what you knew when you were young?
But now they know shit that we don't know.
Yes.
Like when it comes to technology and some of the stuff that
Help me with my phone, help me connect my Bluetooth to my car.
Well, actually, that you should have still known. I don't know why you don't know that, but
I can't know everything.
No, very, very true. But so you ended up being in Canmore. You had 2 offices, Canmore, Kelowna. Yes. Why did you ended up coming to Kelowna?
I was in Canmore for 10 years, and we were here in the 2003 fires. Mm. I was dealing with clientele from around the world in Canmore. And there was an opportunity during the fires that a furniture store was selling. So we came to see it, and I ended up buying it.
Oh, so you bought a furniture business too?
I bought a retail furniture business. And I thought, I will live in Canmore, come to Kelowna. I love Kelowna. Came here every summer. And the long-term plan was to move here at some point. Mm-hmm. I bought the retail store, the furniture store. It was called Bungalow Home Interiors. Okay. I ended up closing it. Mm-hmm. But during that time, so I had a retail store, I had a Canmore office, I had a Kelowna office, or I had just started a Kelowna office, and I did have a Calgary office back in the early 2000s.
And your kids were already in?
Yes. What I did find out after I had bought the business that I had become pregnant with my 3rd child. So, and in Canmore, it was very, very expensive, as it still is. It still is. It became obvious that we could buy a family home that would allow for 3 kids here, and then I would commute back to Calgary and Canmore.
So you flew, you drove, you just go out?
Both. I probably flew more, and it was once a month for a
Because
week.
you the wheels. These jokes, we know each other for a long time. They keep coming. They are gonna keep coming. Actually,
Good thing I'm confident in my size.
yeah, you have to. What else? Like, you gotta have a thick skin now. But that's crazy. So you 3 kids or 2, 1 on the go, interior design, retail. Like that's you brought quite a bit on yourself.
And at my son being born, I worked up till 5 o'clock. My doctor said, meet me at the hospital. We want to check your vitals. I arrived. I drove myself. I had my laptop. And she said, we're going to induce you.
Jesus Christ.
I even got a parking ticket.
Oh.
Because my vehicle was in the parking lot for too long.
You didn't dispute that one and fought it out? It's just like,
so 3 kids and no mat leaves.
back then, that's right.
Back then, yeah. So,
God, man, you're a powerhouse, eh? You really kept going over you've seen ups and downs. You've seen
the economy
seen the economy, and I also know you give back a lot too. Like you for somebody that we talked many times over our coffees, and what I love about you that you always want to give back and you mentor people.
Yes.
So why is that so important to you?
One of the when you look at the different areas of satisfaction. So there's beautiful design, there's team members, there's the client relationships. But I think also as a mother, I love empowering specifically women, but both, to become self-confident and know that they have the ability to live their dreams, do whatever they want. And so we've created different programs within Sticks and Stones. So if it's a high school student who wants just a little taste of what is it like to spend half a day, we've created a half-day program. Then we have, for older people, a one-day program. Up to...
What do you mean old people?
Older people, I don't know, they have maybe tried a career in something else and they're not feeling satisfied and they have this interest in interior design. It's really important to experience a day at least in a design company, because it's not about picking finishes and making pretty things. It's that's about 10% about what we do. We are dealing with code, we're dealing with maintenance, function, we're making sure things are arriving, we're getting our technical drawings out. And so it gives them a really good look at what is an interior design day.
And there's more to it than
absolutely
just drawing. Like there's interior design is almost architectural.
Yes,
actually.
Absolutely. Yes. And every quarter of an inch matters.
Amen.
Actually, going back, you're one of the first men that have been in my house in like 3 years.
Yeah,
so,
holy shit. I told Toby that.
Quarter of an inch.
Don't tell that Toby. She might be like, what the fuck is happening here? But did the times have changed in the interior design from back then to what it is now? Like I would think, seeing you work and what you're working on and stuff like that, is it became way more technical. It's not about beauty anymore. Just like, make it look fancy. It's like, okay, you need really like architecture.
You need that, architectural experience. Back in the 90s, when I began Sticks and Stones, my clients, if it was a residential project, would bring a stack of magazines, 12 inches, and they'll have had their stickies, and we would go and flip through and they would show me what they liked.
Yeah.
And that could take hours to go through.
Yeah.
And then there were only a few products. There were, 10 carpets, 15 tiles, 25 lights to choose from.
And now it's
now
hundreds
it's
and thousands.
endless. And the amount of knowledge we need to constantly be learning about all the products and what they can do. And now we have Pinterest too, which makes it very easily. Our clients will create a Pinterest board, whether it's a commercial project or residential, and within 2 or 3 minutes, I can understand what they're trying to achieve aesthetic wise.
And you work on all kinds of, between commercial, between residential, you work on hotels, or you have worked on hotels. You worked on restaurants. Which restaurants, by the way, did you design here in Kelowna? Did you design any here?
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
A couple of them have closed, actually.
Well, not because of you.
Not because of me, but the streaming cafe was one. I don't know. I don't want to talk about that. I can't remember.
Well, you're that old. Like, it's like you
now
are forgiven. There you go. We're gonna circle back on that one. Maybe just text your people and just say, oh, what did we
do? Well, I think of all the projects, and okay, a part of why I don't remember is Sticks and Stones was very large in multiple locations.
Actually,
and I wasn't as involved in the company. I wasn't involved in the projects, and I was dealing with employees and problems.
Managers. So you were managing people more than you were working the projects.
Yes. Yeah. And during COVID, that was probably the best slowdown moment where I realized what makes me happy. And it's the customer relationships, it's the design. And going back to when I started, I was the happiest. So I downsized, I closed Canmore.
I remember that when we first met, which is almost 8 years ago, actually. A long time, I know. This is crazy.
I've said no to you a lot.
You did, and you still do. We're not even married yet, you do that. But you had Canmore. You had a very large, I think you might have had somewhere between 15 and 21 people, which is...
In Kelowna.
In Kelowna, and then you had Canmore. And we've been friends for a long time. There were struggles there. And we talked about it and talked it through. And sometimes it's not about having the amount of people there. It's just like, okay, the small, it's just, you can oversee everything. It just makes it easier.
Yes, and just getting into all the projects and the details, but the customer relationships are what really make me tick. And being able to spend more time with my employees in mentoring them and guiding them. It's just, it's come definitely full circle, and I'm about to celebrate 30 years next year. And I've come full circle, and I feel as excited now as when I started the company.
There is clients of yours that I have do know as well, very well. And what they said to me was that you really understand them. So you understand your client, but it takes time to then understand the clients, not just to like hear the project. It was like, oh, I'm handing you off to Billy and Billy will... No, it's you really doing the work.
I'm really doing the work. And one of my biggest strengths is my intuition to understand people right away. And
I wish you would understand men a little better, but...
That's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay.
I'm healthy. I'm good.
But to be able to read people and understand and get into their mind and to create something with not a lot of words. I mean, definitely I go back to Pinterest, but intuitively there's something...
Well, you can see the way people dress, the way they behave. You get roughly an idea, okay, although I would think you would have a problem in my house. That's just...
I don't know. I think I've got a pretty good sense.
Well, let's put your money where your mouth is. Why don't you show me what you can draft up, and then I will tell you what my wife agrees on.
No, it's like you've got to, show me the money.
Show me the money. That's right.
Yeah.
Now you do sound like my wife. Like, no, but it's very true. You are intuitive, and like me hearing that from other people is clear that you're definitely doing the right thing. So you said earlier on that the interior design was a very early venture or interest of yours. At 4 years old, did you just watch some...
Not 4 years, grade 4.
Grade 4. Okay.
Yes, grade 4.
How old were you? How old is that?
I was 10 to 12.
Okay, well, that's not far off. 6 years. Fair.
Did
you watch a show?
I was shorter
you were
then.
even shorter then. So did you watch a show? Did you read a magazine? And it was like, oh my God, this is what I want to do?
Well, you know what? My dad always renovated our homes, and instead of, we still played in the yard, but I was learning about HVAC in a house, 2x4 structure. I was taking down drywall. Yeah. And then at 10, yes.
I'm just thinking, my daughter just turned 10. What does she care about candy? That's like...
Yeah, no, I became I remember going in the basement and looking at the joists and the beams and the cross structure and he would explain the HVAC coming down, and we'd build walls. And
so he saw that you were interested and invested in his time on with you. Wow.
And so it was just a natural, it was an interest for sure.
Wow, that's
So that's like my whole life pretty much that I've
And you're not
up.
slowing down. You keep going. Like you do. I mean, look at you're full of piss and vinegar. Like
absolutely.
I can't see you really slowing down anytime soon.
Absolutely not. And the projects that keep coming and the clients and this renewed energy is...
You did went a couple of years ago. You went through a little bit of a funk.
Absolutely, yes.
And you and I, we both coached each other on that subject.
Yes.
And you were very big in mental health, and you always want to make sure like you got to stay sharp. And you had, I think you went to the same person I went one time actually.
Nicole.
That's the hypnotherapy.
Yes.
Yeah. But even before there was some other person.
Oh yes.
I want to say her name was Andrea, but is that Andrea?
No.
Was that right?
She was a Body Talk.
Body Talk, that's
yes.
right.
Okay, I forgot about that. Yes.
I didn't.
Yes.
Well, I guess I did. Yeah. You did that, which worked for a while, and you were very into that.
Yes, I went for years.
Yeah, I didn't. I went, I think, twice. I'm like, I'm not really seeing anything here.
Yes.
You went there a little bit longer, and then I think I went to Nicole first and talked to you about it.
Yes.
About hypnotherapy, and then you went there. I thought it was fantastic.
Amazing. So, one of my menopause symptoms was anxiety.
We're getting into that. It's like the topic has changed.
It's something as women that we don't talk about. You talk about hot flashes. You talk about night sweats and not sleeping, and I ended up with every menopausal symptom, and one of the biggest things that came to the forefront was anxiety. Partially, just different life circumstances enhanced it, I would say. But I remember I would wake up and just be fearful of my day, and fearful of a phone call, fearful of a conversation with an employee. And I realized, and this went on for years, but it was very gradual until, I even was shaking. Like I was just so anxious. And I was in my car, and you had mentioned this, and I thought, this isn't normal. Life happens, but there's no need to be in fight and flight anymore. And I picked up the phone, and this beautiful Australian accent said, we can change this for you, Carla. And within 3 sessions, definitely an impact. But that first year changed how my brain was thinking, how I was dealing with life. And I still do the odd little checkup, but my life has changed dramatically.
I know.
Like a 360 on how I view.
When I find when people always complain about life and this has always happened to me and well, the common denominator is you.
Yes.
So the only way you can change it is yourself. And I find that even in my own life, when I went there and I had some stuff I needed to go through, we do things subconsciously. So if you're not even aware of where the fear or the problem is, you can't fix it. So with the hypnotherapy, I found it was just fantastic how it worked subconsciously on the issue, and then you work through it and you woke up.
Yes.
And you're like, okay. And then I'm a result-oriented person. So to me, it was more about like, how did my environment perceive me more than how I perceive myself. But it was more all of a sudden, like there's like, oh no, you're much calmer, like things you work through and you see things differently and you speak differently. And I'm like, okay, well, this seems to work. So I went a couple of times. I stopped going because I didn't think that I needed another checkup, but you might be right. Just like the engine, maybe a little tune-up doesn't hurt.
Yeah, like I probably go once a month, once every 2 months, depending on what's happening. But it shifted my perspective on life. It improved my self-confidence, my self-esteem. And
I can vouch for that. Like from where you were to where you are today, very, very different. Very,
right?
So it's very good.
Yeah,
I love the change in you. Like
I know.
It is very, very positive.
Yeah, I've definitely come back to my early 30s, my late 20s.
Well, don't push it. Don't push it.
Except maybe not.
Like, maybe not.
but
maybe a little Botox here or there will get it. Try that again.
Yes. Maybe we'll do a joint session.
Now, when I did a little bit of reading on you, you had an interview you did about 13 years ago, where you were. What did the person ask you? The person asked you, if you want to spend a full day, who would you want to spend it with? And you said Richard Branson. And that seems to surprise you now. Maybe things have changed. But why did that person back then triggered you? It's like, you want to learn? Like is it?
He's a forward thinker, and I really, he created all the Virgin and going into space. He hadn't done that yet, I don't think, but and he had the obstacle of dyslexia, I believe. And you take, because we all have, actually. And so he had to teach himself how to learn and move forward in the world with a diverse ability, I'm going to say.
I actually think he couldn't even read a P&L.
Yes.
He didn't even understand it.
And so for me, because we all have our challenges to overcome whatever it is, and to be a big thinker, I still watch him.
So that would be the same, like today, even you would say, I want to spend a day with him.
And get into his brain.
Say it in the camera. Say, Richard, if you're out there.
Richard,
I want to spend a day.
I'm here. Yeah. I would love to spend a day with you.
Okay, that sounded a little weird now. Like, keep it PG. I believe he is married. Oh, you and I, we always like...
you know what? I knew this was going to be a fun interview.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't it? Or coffee. Like every time we go for coffee, I'm pretty sure people around us when we're talking, like, what the fuck is wrong with those two?
Exactly, they're having too much fun.
Yeah, and I think actually that is very important. And like for me and my wife, like we have so much fun in any relationship you have, whether it's intimate or friendship. I think fun should be
number one.
Because if you're not enjoying the time with the people you're spending it, why are you spending the time with them?
Exactly. And that goes for sticks and stones.
For your employees.
We have a lot of fun, and I try to bring that into the company on a daily basis. Yeah,
I think you're doing a good job in seeing like your people now that you're out of the funk and you have it settled in. Christina, she's doing a great job. She's working with you fantastically.
Amazing.
Yeah. Are you planning on bringing your family in too? Like maybe having some of them in the business?
Oh, I've asked. but they don't have, I want them to do what they feel passionate about. And unfortunately,
It's not
interior design.
I did the same with my kids. I mean, they're younger too. I'm like, publishing, doing stuff, advertising, marketing. I'm like, yeah, probably, maybe not. Although actually, you know what? My oldest daughter did just said to me, she would like to be an architect.
Oh, so she could become part of our mentoring program where she spends a half day.
How old do they have to be?
How old is your daughter?
She's 16, turning 17.
Oh, absolutely. You should bring her if she's here this
She's here right now.
Yeah, that we do something very simple and they get
Is there a dress code?
Designer. Oh. Got to wear big black glasses.
Oh, she wears that actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Actually, she does.
Designer.
But actually, I should actually. Why don't I?
Yes,
I just drop her off and tell her you just show her some shit. I'm going to do that today.
Okay, not today.
Okay.
But maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday.
So, and then it's just half days?
It's a half day, and we give her a little project, like decorating a room or a living room, dining room.
I'm going to do that. I'm not even going to tell her. I'm just going to drive her to your office, drop her off.
Give her a little heads up.
No, because you have kids. What do you get from them? No, I don't want to do it. No, giving no choice. Like, you grew up differently. Like, here's this what you're doing. See you later. Bye. Where's she gonna run? Like,
and then I'll sit her down we give her something fun. She walks away with picking furniture, picking lights, picking paint. And
I'm serious.
Absolutely. I would do that.
Okay.
See? Giving back to you and your family. I didn't know you now
had a choice. I was like, I was just gonna do it. That's awesome. Now, in the industry for all these years you've been working on, what changed the business? Other than COVID, because that changed the business in the world. But what changed in your business world?
In my business world, simplicity and joy, wanting more peace, and with that, attracting customers, clients, business owners, designers, architects, home stylists that have the same mindset that let's work hard, let's have some fun, let's make the most beautiful project, but let's enjoy it. And that's what's shifted.
Oh, really? Eh? Now the name Sticks and Stone is a bit of a quirky little.
I love it.
You must. You called your company, but why did you call it Sticks and Stones?
So when I moved to Canmore, I was awarded a big multifamily project as my first, and I needed a company name, and I wanted 2 building materials. So it could have been nail and hammer.
That's stupid.
It could have been timber, stone, and tapestry. But I had, I don't know, 2 hours, and Sticks and Stones, the nursery rhyme, came into my head. Boom. Wow. It's like the most basic building materials.
It's a nursery rhyme? How does that go?
Oh no, sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt me.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And there
So that's a little nursery rhyme. But again, and it was for Canmore, it was like sticks, logs, and stones. Then as the company evolved, I took out the less rustic, and it's the basic building materials of
any building.
Any building.
Although now these days, probably metal.
A little bit of concrete.
A little bit, which is stone. But fair enough. Maybe you didn't know that. I'm not wrong.
No, you're right. You're right.
Unfortunately. Damn it. Didn't want it to be. But in all these years, what is the proudest moment, other than having your family and your kids? What is the proudest moments in business that you look back and you're like, shit, I did that. That's amazing.
There's a couple of projects that just really have stuck with me, and I even go back and look at them. And there's one in particular, and a client from England wanted to create a Canadiana ranch, and he bought some land in Beaverdale,
Okay.
which, right?
It's remote.
Remote. But we designed it architecturally with logs. I went to England to present. I went to his place in Vancouver and presented to his little kids. So I had to create little tiny color boards for these boys who were 10 and 11. And then we did the interior design, and I was out in Beaverdale twice a week over a 4 or 5 year. That's how long it took to build. And we furnished it and furnished it from cups and silverware to bedding to towels to in a Canadiana. And he would fly in, and we would have brought food up and menus that he would make that for his stay. It ended up continuing on where we were going to be building a landing strip, cabins, and he ended up with cancer and ended up passing away. But
before you finished even?
We finished, and he got to enjoy it for a 4 or 5 year window.
Nice. That was a big project.
It was a big project, and I look at it and I see pictures, and it was so well detailed, and it was a labor of love by myself and the entire team at that time.
And probably this man, because that's not a cheap venture.
Oh, yeah, just a wonderful man.
Yeah, that must have been very dedicated for the project.
Yes, labor of love.
So is there any projects that you're working on right now that are that you're looking forward to finish, or mostly to show it to the world?
Well, we just finished Mission Creamery, which is in the base of the Aqua building, the boat rental. Amazing clients. We've been working on it for about a year. They make their own ice cream, so they created a production facility and had to get a dairy license.
Wow.
And their ice cream is amazing. So yeah,
now I have to go there too.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a hotel that's just starting under construction, La Quinta by Wyndham, which has been really enjoyable working with Wyndham to create their aesthetic and brand. And our client, we're getting everything made in China. So I don't know if we'll end up over in China looking at the manufacturing, but part of it.
That would be really cool if you can do that.
So that experience has been amazing as well.
Yeah, so you're planning a trip out there?
Probably in the next year. Would love to.
Amazing, actually.
And have that experience of manufacturing in a different country.
But other than that, you keep the business going. So I'm pretty sure you're going to kick around for a little bit longer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I look forward to more coffees with you. And,
I know.
And see what else coming out of the factory of Sticks and Stones. So
yeah. Thank you. I always enjoy our visits.
Yeah.
Always have.
Good. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mario.